going to be with the Blazers.
Yeah, they're playing the long game, and he doesn't have the long game at this point. At least one would think he needs to be focused on winning sooner. So, Legs, let me come to you more quickly. Let's say Damian Lillard does reach that conclusion, which I'll continue to say no one could blame him for. I don't think anyone should hold against it. This is not one of these superstars forcing their way out kind of situations that have become, at sometimes, somewhat unappealing. Give me a place that you could see him going, Tim Legler, that you will come on this show the next day and say, okay, yep, that team has an excellent chance to win a championship right now.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go with the Miami Heat, I think, first and foremost. And look, listen, for Damian Lillard, I think what it comes down to is at some point, you just get tired of watching your peers and guys that you think are on the same level as you play deep into the postseason in May and June, and you know you're not going to have that opportunity to do it. So I think the time could come here pretty soon, and Miami would be the team because I think when you look at it, they already have another star player in place. They've got the defensive infrastructure around him. You know, organizationally, they're exceptionally well run, exceptionally well coached. They just need a guy that can have that firepower to give them a little bit more boost offensively than what they had this year and certainly what they had in the postseason and in the finals. So Damian Lillard could be the answer to all of that, and reports are that that would be his primary destination if he decided to move on, and it would certainly make a lot of sense. And Miami immediately would be a team now that we put on the short list of title contenders.
Yeah, he himself said it. He said it to Brian Custer on his podcast. Now, I tried to come up with a trade, and I probably shouldn't do this, but I came up with a trade, which is Tyrese Maxey and the expiring contract that is Tobias Harris to Portland. That felt like attractive. Tyrese Maxey, good young player that feels like he sort of fits into this. A lot of people like him. Why were you telling me this morning that's not as appealing as what Miami could put together?
Draft capital. When you look at what Philadelphia, the lone pick they can trade is in 2030. I like Tyrese Maxey a lot. I mean, do you flip him and maybe get something else? But I just look at it from a draft capital. If you're going to move a franchise player and somewhat do a reset here, I don't know if you're going to get a Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert type-esque package here, but at least you're going to want multiple good ones here, not something in 2000.
So that seems less likely, because, Perk, you and I were talking about Damian Lillard with Joel Embiid, and if somehow they could find a way to make that happen, that's a fit that I liked, and I know you like a lot, too.
Greeny, have you noticed my pattern when I come on this show?
Which is what?
The first hour, my coffee really don't kick in.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, in the second hour, it do.
Now you're ready to go?
For the last 3 or 4 years, all we've been talking about is, where's Dame going? Is he going to get traded? Is he going to force himself out?
Right.
We just heard the GM saying Dame want to win badly. I don't believe him. Because if you did, you would have been got out of Portland. Right? So the thing is, no other superstars are going to Portland. Damian Lillard is not attracting superstars to Portland. That's just a fact. And he don't want out. So we have to stop having these conversations about him, about, oh, Dame, oh, poor Dame. Every single year he's go out there, he's going to give you a 50-piece. He's going to give you a 60-piece wing dinner, all flats. He's going to do that in every offseason. Poor Dame, he just deserved better. Oh, man, we feel sorry for him. He got his max money. Do he want to win? And right now, I really don't believe him. Yes, he could win regular season games, help the Portland Trail Blazers get to the postseason. But to be honest, I don't know if Dame really cares about winning the championship. But because if he did, then we wouldn't be having this conversation 3 years later.
Okay, bring more coffee in here for Mr. Come on, get some more in here for Big Perk. I'll take more of this. The more I can get, the better. Go ahead, Brandon. Give him the more we can get. I'm good with that. Fair enough. So what you're saying is, some will look at that and say, this is loyalty to an organization, and that there's something about playing for one team his whole career, like Kobe did, like Dirk did, like Derek Jeter did, like whoever else, that means something to him. But you're saying that if you value winning more than anything else, he should want out of it.
Yeah, but think about this, though. Kobe played for one organization his entire season, but Kobe also put some pressure on the Lakers and said that he wanted out at one point.
He did?
Right?
He did.
So,
yes,
okay,
of course.
And they had to go out and get Paul Gasol.
Right.
Okay, but Dame hasn't done that.
Right.
You know, it's just like, at this point, it's like, like we keep talking about it, he don't want it.
Well, so maybe he'll do it, though. Maybe this is the time that he finally does it.
Yeah, listen, and let's not act like they've never done any winning in Portland.
They won a little.
They went to the playoffs 8 straight years, the longest streak in the Western Conference. That was hard to do in the West during that time. They went to 2 more Western Conference semifinals. It's not win a championship and every other organization is a failure every year. That's not reality. So they have had success there. They've had some very good teams. They plateaued 2 years ago, decided they're going to reshape this roster. They traded C.J. McCollum and started to reboot it. But it isn't as though they've been non-competitive.
Right.
They were a model for a small market team in a really competitive window in the West during that time.
But Woj, with them winning and having, like, you know, being in the playoff hunt, winning in the playoffs and having a winning record, he still didn't attract the superstar.
Yeah.
Even with C.J. McCollum.
Isn't that the market, though, right? I mean, and Portland's a lovely city and a beautiful place, but generally speaking, it isn't the place that we usually associate the big-name superstars looking to go to.
No, Giannis, they got a lot of people that would love to go play with Giannis, Greeny.
Yeah, that's
Milwaukee.
true. That's fair. And so maybe there's something in that. Well, let me get to one of the other deals here, because yesterday we had the Chris Paul trade also, and I want to get that in here. Chris Paul traded to the Warriors. This one really kind of floored me. When I saw it, the odds, for what it's worth, did not change at all. He was traded for Jordan Poole and Woj. And Bobby, you were telling me this morning, this really had more than anything to do with the Warriors needing to move Jordan Poole's contract.
Right. They had to, not only did they trade a 24-year-old player who they've developed, who they gave, 4 years, $130 million roughly guaranteed, they had to attach 2 draft picks to it to move him on for essentially an expiring contract in Chris Paul. This is essentially this was a financial decision that the Warriors had to make, especially if they wanted to give themselves some breathing room to re-sign Draymond Green on a new deal.
So should this make us, and I asked you this question this morning, Bobby, this should make us expect, and again, expectations are what they are. We don't know, but this should make us expect that Draymond comes back. Does it also mean that they will give Klay Thompson the extension that we have heard? You told me, Woj, during the season that he wants, which is big money, and I know a lot of people wonder whether at this stage with the injuries and everything else, that would be the right move.
It just gives you more of a runway now when you look at taking back Chris Paul, who has a non-guaranteed contract for next offseason. You knock off Jordan Poole's years 2, 3, and 4 at $30 million. Klay Thompson eligible for an extension this offseason. Now, the big question is, 4 for 210 is a big number, $63 million in the last year. So is there a compromise there? But it just gives you the financial flexibility. And I always thought with Jordan Poole, if it wasn't this offseason, it was going to be next offseason. It was going to be somewhere in between. And we can all question as far as what the package they got back for him.
There's going to be a lot of veteran players who have been used to, I get the full max when I'm up and eligible for an extension. I get a raise off the number I'm at. Guys in their 30s, early 30s, mid 30s, where all of a sudden you're going to be paying these contracts at 36, 37. The negotiations are not going to be that easy.